Hello and welcome to the Turn 4 podcast. My name is Dan Maldonado. If it's your first time listening, welcome. If you're a regular listener, welcome back. Let me introduce you to my co-host, Tim Ryder. Hey, Timmy!
What's up, Daniel? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so good.
Good.
It's been a long break, 2 weeks. We're back in the saddle. It's all good.
Yeah.
Holidays are over.
It's good to see you. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you. I hadn't talked to you in a long time, so
I know. Hey, there's more to this intro. Wait.
I know
did it
there
once,
is.
so
I've done it one time, folks. One time I was able to do it.
We are not insiders. We attempt to give you a fan's perspective on IndyCar racing tonight. We have a roundup of current news and notes around IndyCar and F1. Kind of a short one today, right, Tim?
We'll see.
Hey, it was a nice break. You know, I don't think I talked with you much since the last show.
No, it was odd.
And obviously Christmas here. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you and your family.
Happy New Year to you and your family. Happy New Year to the Turn 4 podcast listeners as well. Welcome back. Yeah. Glad to see everybody. Hope everybody's happy and healthy. Had a nice holiday and some nice time off too. So did you enjoy your break, Tim?
It was so good. I took some time off work and did a lot of things with the kids and the family. Went to a bowl game, went and ice skated in downtown Detroit. So whoever gets out there, it's a great time. And did a lot of other things. Did some racing at some karting place and, had some people over for New Year's. It was good.
That's cool. That indoor karting thing is very cool. I did the Sarah Fisher deal in Speedway
That's right.
a couple years ago.
Talking about that when we were there.
Yep. Yeah. And it was a lot of fun. I would encourage anybody to do that if you've got one nearby.
Yeah, the carts we were on, they said they went 40 miles an hour and they were moving. It was good. We got the boys out there as well as my daughter out there. And, it was fast. And it was fun. Some cousins, everything. And then we built that game room that I sort of told you about a little bit. So that's fun too. So we, took over the basement and did some stuff down there. So it was busy. Was yours good?
Mine was great. But before I move on to mine, I just want to say I look forward to, getting a whooping again by you and your son on the Formula One game.
He is way too good. It's
while you guys enjoy the new game room. I had a nice time. We went to the movies. We watched a lot of shows on Netflix. We watched Money Heist. I don't know on Netflix. I don't know if I told you this, but I highly recommend this. Recommend this. Saw Spider-Man. We saw Sing yesterday. Sing 2, I should say. My niece and her family. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time. It was a good couple weeks off. So
yeah, nice.
But here we are back at it. We're almost ready for the season to start, the end of February. We got a few more podcasts in between till we start doing some race recaps again. So it leads us to kind of some news and notes.
Yeah, and that's not far off. The season's right around the corner. So
it is.
Excited.
Yeah, me too. St. Pete. Mm-hmm. Maybe a live race in between here and there for me and you.
Yeah, maybe 24 hours of Daytona, right? We've been talking about that. I want to book my flight here. So that's my plan tomorrow.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know if you noticed, but did you see the bomb that Marshall Pruett dropped for the 2023 silly season? Seems a bit early. It seems a bit early to me, really. I mean, as the 22 season isn't even underway. In fact, there's some teams that haven't even filled out their 2022 teams fully yet. So what is this bomb, you ask? One Alexander Michael Rossi headed to Ganassi, according to smart people. I'm kind of paraphrasing our friend Marshall Pruett.
Yeah.
Tim, help me with this. What is this?
It is way, way, way too early to have that prediction, right? Just because he's not under contract with Andretti for next year doesn't mean that he is going to Ganassi. So if it happens, Marshall has some really good intel that no one else has.
Yeah, I'm okay. So the first thing I want to say is this feels plausible to me. First, because I don't see Honda letting him go. And other than Penske, where would he go? Aaron McLaren? Because that's the only non-Penske Chevy team, I feel, that has the resources that could give Rossi a winning car.
Well, what about Rahal?
That keeps him in the Honda family, but Rahal is a full house right now, right? Because we have the scion of the Rahal family, Graham, who's not vacating that seat anytime soon. It doesn't seem like it. And you've got two new guys there that are probably there on multiple deals. I can't imagine that, Jack left Shank for a 1-year deal at Rahal. So I'm assuming that him and Christian Lundgaard would at least be on multi-year deals, 2 or 3-year deals. So I don't see him going there either. Ganassi,
stay with Andretti.
You think so?
I think so. I think
the
they
right move?
figure it out. Yeah. I read an article over the break, and he said that they figured out the road course setup, which they had struggled with at the beginning of the season near the end. And if you look at the results at the end of the season, he did really well on those road courses. He didn't win, of course, but he was up there, and I know he got a podium here and there. So I think they figured that out. And he said if they could carry that from last year into this year, that they would get off to a strong start. And I think that's going to happen. And I don't think Andretti's going to let him go unless they have a horrible, horrible season. And then maybe it's time to cut ties. I think you've talked in the past about how they kept Ryan Hunter-Reay on for so long, and you had thought that they should have cut ties a long time ago. But, the relationship that Michael had with Ryan he stuck around for a long, long time with DHL.
Yeah, he did. All right. So it's funny that you say that. So we're going to unpack some of those opinions throughout the rest of this conversation with this regard. So the first thing I'll say is this is super early. I agree with you. This is super early. And nobody knows I doubt anybody would be planning or posturing for 23 like that. I don't know that Alexander Rossi would be posturing for 23 at this point either. I think he really is committed to trying to squeeze whatever he can squeeze out of 2022 season, because he's had kind of a dry spell over the last couple of years. So
it's hard to even say 2023. We just hit 2022, right?
Yes.
It's difficult.
Super early. I can't even
way too early
stress that enough. So, but could this be Rossi or Rossi's management team, whoever that may be, trying to send a message to the team, right? I mean, Hertamania 2.0 is probably expected to continue his strong showings next year. I would expect that. Grosjean arrives with high expectations, and his engineer from Dale Coyne. He arrives with high expectations and his engineer from Coyne after a pretty good season at Coyne last year.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael sent 2 friends packing at the end of last season, Ryan Hunter-Reay, like you mentioned, and James Hinchcliffe. Mm-hmm. We're both, I think, friends of Michael Andretti in that organization. So maybe Rossi and or his management team feels the need to get his name out there. Put something in there, reassert. We saw that article, right? Rossi's looking to reassert himself at Andretti. Maybe he is looking to reassert himself at Andretti because his teammate, Colton Herta, stole the show last year. He was the only guy that got a win last year. It was also the only guy that got a win the year before in 2020 at Mid-Ohio. So, and then Grosjean arrives. He's all the fanfare and everything, right? The media darling, and everybody loved Roman Grosjean last year. Then you got the rookie who, the bar isn't exactly set real high for him. He should do well. Whether or not he does that much better than Hinch, we'll see. That's the plan, at least, I'm sure, for that team. But maybe that's just Rossi, right? That middle child kind of thing. He's trying not to get lost in the shuffle, and he's trying to just make sure that people realize, hey, I'm here, and I have high expectations as well, not only of myself, but of this team. And if they don't come to fruition, I've got options.
Yeah, I think he took his schedule and he moved a lot of stuff out of it for 2022 to focus on IndyCar, because ever since they put the aero screen on, he's not been as competitive.
Nope.
But like I said earlier, I think him and his engineer found out what they needed to do on the road courses late last year. I think that's going to carry over to 2022 here, and he's going to do well. And I think everybody in the paddock knows it's his last year under contract, right? So I don't know if they need to officially put it out there. Everybody knows it's been talked about that, they haven't signed up yet. But for Marshall to go out and say he's going with Ganassi next year is interesting.
Yeah. Very interesting.
And
So
it's
I guess
still
we'll
way too early.
it is. It is. I agree with that. It is. But if you also look at, I think Andretti has kind of a way of doing a lot of their contracts and a lot of their situations, getting them locked down, or at least making some big splashy announcements sometime around the 500. So that's only May, right? So we're really not looking at a season or something, halfway in May.
Yeah.
That's only,
It's 5 months.
5 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to September.
Almost 6 months, really.
Yeah.
It's almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Interesting to
More
see.
to come.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
Who
Who
are the big three teams in IndyCar?
the big three are Penske, Ganassi, and Andretti.
Yes. Do you agree with that?
I do.
You do?
I do. I do.
Interesting.
I do. I do believe they are the big three teams. And there are some knocking on the door.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Well, the race posted an article suggesting that IndyCar now has a big five now instead of just a big three, where previously it was generally accepted that Penske, Ganassi, and Andretti were your big three teams, as you suggested. But the race now is adding Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan Racing, and Arrow McLaren. Do you agree with that?
I think you could put Arrow McLaren in that group. I'm not sure you can put Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan Racing in there. And here's why I think that is the case. The other teams that I mentioned, Penske, Ganassi, Andretti, as well as Arrow McLaren, all had a driver that was in the hunt for the championship. I think to be in the hunt for the championship consistently, which Arrow McLaren hasn't done yet, right? They will probably next year and the year after. So they will be considered part of the big three, which is going to go to big four. I'd like to see the Rahal team do that as well and be in the hunt for the championship. Then I would go, yeah, I think they're part of this. And now it's a big five group. That's kind of how I look at it.
Right. I would normally agree with you in that situation had it not been for the work that the race did. And we'll properly cite this and we'll make sure that we tweet it on the show. But as far as average finishes are concerned in 2021, you know who has the best average finish of the proposed big five teams?
I do, only because I looked at the notes. If I had to guess otherwise, I would not predict what you have on paper here.
Right. And what I'll say is it's the team that you're suggesting is not quite the big five.
Exactly. That is the team I'm suggesting.
Rahal has the best average finish in 2021 of 9.77, ahead of Ganassi at 10.67, who was the championship team this year, right? Penske, who is the benchmark team every year, at 10.86. Arrow McLaren, 12.84. And Andretti, 13.8. Fifth out of the big five.
Well, I think you got to look at number of cars that are in the entry, right? You have more cars, you have the likelihood of one probably in the back of the field, right? So you're going three car teams and one 4-car. Well, that's two.
Three 4-car teams and a 2-car and a 2-car.
Yeah. So there you go.
Right. Andretti's a 4-car team. Bottom 5.
Yep.
Penske 4-car.
Yep.
Right. Third. And Ganassi was 4. And let's face it, I mean, Jimmy Johnson, right, would be that test grade that always got dropped. Right. With Jimmy Johnson's performance. So it's kind of surprising to me that the team that posted no wins and the team that right here on this podcast, railed on every week because of their poor qualifying, and they have the best average finish. Well, I don't know if that's, an average or if that's because they only have 2 teams or whatever else. To me, I'm shocked at that. I really am.
And Arrow McLaren would have been up there, but one of their cars did not do well at all. So that's why they got the 12.8 average finish.
Yeah.
Right. So, I guess they were consistent, but not a lot of top fives, if I can remember
No,
correctly.
you're right. You're right.
And were they on the podium?
Probably. I could look it up. That's a good question. But here's the thing. So let me go here. This is not in your notes. Did you know that there's such a thing as a Tag Heuer Award in IndyCar? It's the Don't Crack Under Pressure Tag Heuer Award.
No.
It's presented to the driver who advances the most cumulative positions gained over the entire season.
And who was the winner of that?
Takuma Sato.
Whoa.
Do you know who was second?
Must have been Graham.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most positions gained.
Well, unfortunately, the award was not enough to keep him on the team.
Right. But and third, by the way, is Marcus Ericsson. Fourth was Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Wow.
So, but the point here being, it feels to me like if Rahal had been able to get their qualifying sorted out, they would have been, right? They would have been a force to reckon with. They definitely would have been, in your words, right, battling for a championship. Best average finish, most cars overtaken, right? By far, Takuma Sato's 96 over 83 points versus, with his teammate, Graham Rahal.
So based on these stats, the Rahal team's the best team in IndyCar?
No, based on these stats, the big three is Ganassi, Penske, and Rahal.
Yeah, I guess. But based on the results, Rahal's 9.77 average finish,
Best.
They could be the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd put them at 5.
Right. So here's where I want to say, I'm going to draw back a little bit to the Alexander Rossi question. And back to something I said here a long time ago is Roman Grosjean better served by going to Andretti? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So Andretti's average finish in 2021, 13.8. Average finish in 2020, 12.78. Still fifth.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Colton
Herta had one win in 2020. He had 3 wins in 2021, and they still had a worse average finish in 21. That team's going in reverse. So the glasses came off.
No.
Which usually means it's something juicy coming. So someone I work with has this phrase, and I don't know where it comes from. He's the one that uses it, and I love it. It chuckles, but it makes me chuckle. So, but I thought about it, putting these notes together with regard to this conversation with Andretti, this mile wide and inch deep. Andretti's in everything.
Oh, yes.
And I don't know how in depth you can get in your premier series or in any series when you're spread that thin. Even if you have great management, you've got great philosophy, and you've got a great name, and you're able to put all that together from that perspective, I don't know that that's enough.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that that's enough.
Yeah. Penske's in quite a bit, right? He's running the series and running the team, and he's got IMSA, right? So he's got a lot of stuff, and he's got NASCAR. So I think there's a lot of those teams that are involved in a lot of different series. I know Formula E gets in there, and other things for Andretti Autosport. So I know they've got quite the depth when it comes to different sporting events they're in. I should say motorsports that they're in. And I think it would have an impact on your team overall, right? Because, you put resources in different areas, and all your focus isn't just on one team and one series.
Right.
So I get it, right? It's one of those things. It's almost like you look at Rossi and what he's doing and paring down what cars he's driving. Maybe Andretti needs to look at, all the stuff they're doing and where their focus could and should be.
Yep. So I want to carry on the Rossi thing, but you said something that resonates with me. So Penske is in a lot of different series, and they are doing a lot. And he doesn't own the series, and he owns the Speedway. Okay, and yeah, it's under a separate entity, and what have you. But right, it's still Penske. Okay, but it's part of the reason why they scaled back from 4 cars to 3 cars, because they know they have this IMSA effort that's coming with LMDH, whatever that means. And we're going to have to do one of those, by the way. But decoding the IMSA programs. But so Penske has this LMDH program coming up with Porsche in 2023. They scaled back from 4 IndyCar teams to 3 IndyCar teams because they know they need to divert resources to the IMSA program. And they're going to be in it. They're going to run some IMSA races this year because they have to start getting those teams together to run those programs. So Penske scaled back, and it's Roger Penske.
I know.
Right? The man, the myth, the legend, the verb.
Can I toot my own horn that I called it a long, long time ago?
Yes, you can. Yes,
okay.
you can.
Toot, toot.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah,
Toot, toot.
I did it.
So, okay. So
which is the right move. It's the right thing to do. You can't spread yourself that thin.
Inch deep at Andretti. So let's reach back to today's conversation about Alexander Rossi. Is it Rossi underperforming, or is the team underperforming? I would argue it's the team underperforming.
I would go along with that. You got to find the right setup to be quick. And if you can't find the right setup, that's the driver and the engineer working together, and the team collectively, not just at the track, but at the shop. And at the shop, making sure that everything goes along the lines of the plan, if you will. And they're looking at previous setups and adapting to, changes to the track or changes to the tire compound or changes to the car in general when you put the aero screen on it.
Yeah. When I mentioned earlier about Grosjean staying with Coin or going to Andretti this year, take the money, right? Take the contract, take the money, go to the big team, go to Andretti. I get it, right? But I guess we'll have to wait and see, because there's very little over the past couple of years that would suggest that Roman's going to go in there and
he's going to be good.
But I think he'll be okay. I think he will be. But we're going to have to wait and see. I'm very cautious I'm very tempered. I like to say that, that. I'm very tempered with my expectations for Grosjean at Andretti next year. And yes, Alexander Rossi said, well, we found something. We think we got something turned around, and he was really good at Road America.
Did you read that article?
No, but
because he was also talking about Herta's setup.
Okay.
And he was talking about Herta's setup and not being able to take that setup and put it on his car and be as quick as Herta. So he's got a different style of driving than Herta does. So they figured something out. It took Rossi and team a little longer to figure it out, but I think they figured it out. And I wonder where Grosjean's going to fit into that, from a setup standpoint of where he's going to kind of go, because, we hear more and more of that with these cars that, the setup, you want to have like drivers on your team so you can kind of focus on one setup and everybody can drive that same car. And if you get it right, you get it right for everybody. If you get it wrong, everybody's, in the gutter. And I think, that's when you saw the realignment of teams this year. I think the teams were looking at that and concentrating on that when they're bringing drivers to their squad.
I think whatever they found, they better hang on to, because I think that the priority for 22 will be whatever makes Grosjean fast and whatever continues to make Herta fast. And I think Herta and Grosjean, that's where he came from. I think they come more from that European racing mentality of, this is the car, dude. You got to have to make it work.
Yeah, but
I'm not sure that works for Alexander.
Yeah, but back to your point, if they're stretched too thin to really make it work for every single driver, that's when you go, okay, let's make a lineup where they have similar driving styles, which we can set up the car one way, in a sense.
And they're going to have to do it. But also bear in mind, too, because this is a good point, there's 6 cars there, right? So that's a buffet you're going to have to set up for 6 drivers, because it's the 4 Andretti drivers and the 2 Shank drivers. And who are those 2 Shank drivers? Castro Neves, who's our age.
Yeah, I
right?
got a sense
Who's
there
been
wasn't a
driving a
lot
Penske
of.
for a long time, and Pagano that's coming out of a Penske.
Mhm.
So you've got to set up. You got to put a buffet out
Chevy
to
to Honda,
satisfy
right?
6 drivers
Yeah.
at a team that you and I are right now saying are a mile wide and an inch deep.
Yeah.
So I guess more to come.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how much Andretti is putting into those setups in Meyer Shank, right? I got a sense that there wasn't a whole lot, but there was some, but they weren't in the same, driver debriefing, talking about car setups and things of that sort. I'm sure they shared a little bit, but it didn't seem
I
like a ton.
I thought it was full engineering support is how I understood it. It's full
Well,
engineering support.
in the one interview we did, it didn't sound like it was that close. So that's kind of where,
You're gonna have to get somebody else on so they can help us with that.
yeah, yeah,
Right?
because that's what I sort of gathered in the interview we did. I'd have to pull that clip and send it over to you.
Yeah, send it to me. I'll definitely have a listen. So, Formula One. You want to talk about the championship finale anymore?
I don't know. Like,
I don't.
okay, I don't either. All right, let's
I
move
don't.
on from that.
I
All
don't.
right.
Me neither. I guess the one news notable piece here for me, and I'm going to draw some crazy conclusions, but we're not insiders. We're fans, so we can draw our own crazy conclusions here. So one note I want to make here is that Santander Bank is coming back on board Ferrari as a primary sponsor, and I know Ferrari has names that they refer to that, but I'm gonna call it a primary sponsor. It seems Mission Winnow is out, which was a Philip Morris property, which was the parent company for Marlboro, was the longtime sponsor at Ferrari for.
It was right across the chest of the drivers, and then on the cowling of the car, right?
Right.
And
So
it was like
it's
upside
gone.
down. It was like
Yep.
it was an interesting graphic.
Yeah, I looked it up. I still can't tell you what they are, what they did, or I looked it up a couple of times today because I was trying to understand like what it is that they do. Mission Winnow is a PMI-driven initiative to demonstrate our commitment to continuous innovation and development of new solutions that can expedite positive change for society. I have no idea what that means.
Yeah.
Because if they activated against that, Ferrari being I didn't see it. And we watched every Formula One race, and I followed the news and notes on Formula One, and I listened to a few other Formula One podcasts, and I don't know what Mission Winnow activated against that. And I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying, I don't know what it is. They're gone. They seem to be gone. It seems to be the end of Philip Morris's, racing affiliation with Ferrari. So we'll see you. In any case, I think this might help understand Carlos Sainz coming to Ferrari. Because I don't know if you remember, but I remember when Carlos was announced at Ferrari at the same time that Ricciardo was on the market, that Sainz got that drive at Ferrari and Daniel Ricciardo did not. Could it be that a Spanish bank, considering, because these deals are not put together in a couple of months. These are year-long negotiations and planning that go into, especially when you're looking at money like Formula One. Could it be that a Spanish bank said to Ferrari, it feels better to us if you have a Spanish driver, like when we sponsored you in the past when you had Fast Freddie Alonso. So it could help
I like it.
Understand a little bit of that. That's a conclusion I'm drawing,
totally.
and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way anybody could, throw anything at that theory. I think it's legit. I think it's a good call, just because if they're going to sponsor and they want to have a driver in there that's from their homeland, right? It makes sense because they're going to have more followers and more people sign up to do banking at the new bank. So yeah, I think it's good.
That's the conclusion I'm drawing.
All right.
Hey, a website called Give Me Sport published an article recently talking about crash damage by teams in 2021. Tim, who do you think had the biggest crash damage bill? I know you got the notes in front of you.
I know.
If you didn't have that, who would you think it was that had the biggest crash damage? I was actually surprised by this. Not by the team, but I was surprised by who's actually has the biggest crash bill.
I don't know. I probably would have went with Williams or Alpine or somebody like that. But looking at the notes, it was neither of those teams.
Yeah. It was Mick Schumacher, 4.2 million pounds in crash damage.
That's a lot.
The most. And then his teammate was 8th at almost 2.5 million pounds. So between the two of them, they have almost 7 million pounds of crash damage.
On a small team with limited budget and you're wrecking machines. You can't do that.
No.
And they're both retained for next year?
Yes. Probably 5-6% of their budget or their planned budget, right? I mean, think about that. That's a big number out of those two. You mentioned Alpine, 19th and 20. Fast Freddie Alonso, 315,000 in crash damage. Esteban Ocon, 280,000. Two most efficient drivers out there.
Yeah. See what I know.
Is that crazy?
That is crazy. But you have Ferrari in second with Charles Leclerc.
That's and
then Max.
Yes.
You wonder why the championship was close.
Yeah.
That's why. Can't wreck cars and win the championship, but he did anyways. Are we talking about the championship? I thought we didn't want to. Well, you put the notes in front of me, so here I'm looking at them. You got Williams, you got Mercedes, Aston Martin. Yeah, it goes on and on. There's a long list. I guess it's all
Latifi's fourth, 3.1. George Russell, 1.8. So he's pretty efficient. Lance Stroll.
Yeah. The Alpine drivers were 19th and wow, they didn't wreck at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
Think you get a bonus if you don't wreck the car? I would put that in.
I think you should.
I think so too. Look at the differentials.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I think you should. But I also think maybe you should be on some sort of probation if you're racking up $4 million in bills and you didn't win the championship.
Yeah. I'd have to go back and look at how many accidents Schumacher was in because oh man, that's a lot. You figure if you damage a front wing, what's that? Near 75,000 pounds?
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
I like the pounds versus the dollar. That's a good call. You didn't do the conversion?
I didn't. I didn't want to. I don't care.
I love it. Man, it goes on for like a page and a half. I like
it's the full rundown. It's all 20 drivers.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at that.
Yeah, right in the middle. George Russell, 1.8. Carlos Sainz, 1.7.
Yeah, you should get a bonus if you're below $1 million because there's only,
6 guys.
5-6 guys. Yep.
Yeah. Sergio, 939.
Yeah, he starts it on the Red Bull team there with sub £1 million. Wow, good stuff. Hey, did you see
Lando 12? Did I see
Pagano's going to the Rolex 24?
I did.
Yeah,
he's going to round out the the endurance team at Schenk.
Yeah, he's going to be there with Elio.
Hey, yes, he will be. And Schenk's 2 full-time
all the way around.
Yeah,
that was cool. It was a nice announcement today for Pagano.
Yeah,
I saw he's off in France somewhere. He was riding his bike around his old track. Did you see that?
I did. I laughed.
He had so many childhood memories while he was riding his bike. And I was like, man, he's just living it up in France right now. I was like, how cool is that?
I do. I love that. I did see it. Of course, I said, because I sent it to you, the one where he was riding the bike and then video himself and he had
you were talking about his handbag.
Yes. Yeah. Hanging on the
loved it.
I loved that. That was so fun because he was serious. He was getting that video.
He was, and he was like shopping or something. He was doing his holiday shopping and he had that handbag and he was cruising along. And then just a day ago or 2 days ago, he was just doing his childhood route, having a good time. I didn't see the dog though. I missed the dog.
Yeah. Where's Norman? Doesn't Norman have his own Instagram?
He does, I believe, but we don't follow him.
Right.
I think he does.
We should follow him.
Hey,
if the stars align and we go to the 24 Hours of Daytona, you're gonna handle the Instagram, right?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah, I got to get that rolling, huh?
yes, you do. One of the first things I want to put on the Instagram is you and
Yeah.
I have been the recipients of some wonderful pieces of art
We
from
have.
a listener, a super fan of our YouTube channel, actually.
Yeah.
Um, Special thanks to Mark, who goes by Mark's Dash Racing. And he's got an eBay store where he has everything imaginable from Watkins Glen from 1948 to 1990. And it would make no sense to try to put them on the air here for our YouTube, but it'll be one of our first posts on our Instagram where Mark sent us some posters, some beautiful art
Yeah.
from some past US Grand Prix that took place at Watkins Glen, some beautiful stuff, some IndyCar stuff. And we couldn't be more
Some ticket stubs too.
Yes.
How
yes,
cool
some
is that?
really cool
I
stuff.
was
So
like, wow.
yeah. So special thanks to our friend Mark. We appreciate you doing that, Mark. And
Yeah.
we appreciate you being a fan and engaging in the conversation on our YouTube channel as well.
Yeah. I can't wait to get my copies. So
Yeah.
I know you have them right now. I saw them this afternoon while we were chatting a little bit. So they look really cool.
Production meeting.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
And I've got a frame to put them in. So I'm gonna throw it up behind me one of these days here on this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm about wrapped up here. The last thing I have on my notes is I just want to send out a big congrats to Nathan Brown and his wife on the birth of their first child. So congratulations to the Browns. Beautiful
Congratulations.
son,
Yes.
Theodore Brown, Teddy Brown.
Teddy.
So,
I like that.
yeah. So congratulations to the Browns. So, but that's all I got. Timmy, what do you got? Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. That was, a good show, fun. Looking forward to 2022. Looking forward to the season. Looking forward to some new interviews coming up, hopefully. So we got some stuff lined
Yes.
up here in 2022. And no, I think I'm good. Totally good.
We are working on another guest. I think this guest will be very exciting.
Ooh, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, if we can land that one, I think that'll be good. Good fun, good conversation. He'll also give us some great insights too into not only the inner workings of IndyCar.
He's
but
involved
also
in the series right
yeah.
now.
So, but also give us some great perspective on the good old days of Champ Car and everything that goes
Yeah.
on with that. So let's try it in English. That wraps up this episode of the Turn 4 podcast. We'll continue to bring content every other week as we have been. And like we mentioned, we're working on another guest. So watch out on our social media channels for updates. Be sure to subscribe using your favorite podcast app. If you like the show and listen on Apple Podcasts, be sure to leave us a review. Engage with us on Twitter, our website, or our YouTube channel. All links are in the show notes. And until next time, thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Yep. Good night, everybody.